Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back again to another episode of Hour of Healing. We are about to continue what we started last week, which is day by day. And it was very profound, very powerful. And I'm excited for us to get into it today, get into the part 3 of it. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, be sure to go listen before you listen to this one. I am your host, Candace. I'm here with Dr. Joe as usual, and you are always welcome. I hope listeners out there, you are ready, buckle up. We spoke about so many things that was very practical to life, choice, decisions, choosing help. I'm not telling you, you have to go listen. So we are going to continue on today in how we choose to live day by day. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Joe for him to give us a brief summary of what we actually talked about and, where we are going today so that, we can all be on the same page. So Dr. Joe, take it
Yes,
away.
Candice, thank you so much for hosting us once again. And dear audience, we welcome you back to the third and hopefully final part of this discussion that we have entitled Day by Day. And we mentioned that this discussion is based on the fact that as we go through life, you and I need to make choices each day to impact our now and also our future, including eternity. And one of the main things that we have been trying to drive home is that making choices without making the necessary changes to support or to validate those choices, that's not really mean you are living day by day. And so, as Sister Candace said, in choosing to live day by day, we've looked at choosing life. We've also looked at choosing help, which was last week. We got to know that even forgiveness is help that we choose. But I'm not going to go into it. I will employ you, like Sister Candace said, listen to last week's discussion, and I believe you will be truly blessed. So I think that's really where we have been and where we are going, Sister Candace.
Yes, it was very profound knowing that forgiveness is also a form of choosing help for ourselves. And again, you guys, you have to go listen to it because it was a lot. I learned from it that I know will also be beneficial to you to also hear and bless your loved ones or your friends. So we are going to delve more deeper into other means of how we're going to live day by day to make the right choices and the right decisions. That is in part 2. You have to go listen. So, Dr. Joe, what other means is there for us to use to live day by day?
Absolutely, Sister Candace. And isn't God just so good that He will grant us wisdom in this topic? I have been so blessed when I went back to listen. I think I had told you last time before we started recording. And so we've talked about choosing life, which was week 1. We talked about choosing help, which was week 2. So the final thing I will talk about, I had 4 things listed, but I think we will do 3 and then move on to the next topic, which I believe is also very life-changing. And I can't wait for us to get started on that. But the third way you choose to live day by day is choosing people over things. Choosing people over things. And this is so, so crucial that we get because one of the easiest ways you and I can choose to not live day by day is to choose things over people. Why do I say that? Remember when we talked about letters to God? I mentioned that in the next few weeks, we will talk about a topic and I will talk about some of the letters that God writes to us.
Right.
We want our audience to understand that people are letters that God writes to us.
Wow.
You may have spent all your time or all your years writing letters to God, and there is nothing wrong with that. If you want to know what that means, you need to go listen to Letters to God. That prayer is not the only form of letters we write to God. But in that conversation, I made mention of the fact that sometimes you and I will be writing letters to God without really reading the letters He has already written to us. And so it appears our prayers are not being answered. Our Bible reading is not benefiting us. Our good deeds is not benefiting us. Why? Because we are not reading the letters that God has written to us. What are some of the letters? People.
Wow.
People are letters that God writes to us. And so before you spend all your years repeating a cycle of error and repeating mistakes over and over again, read the letter of people who made the same choices that you are making today that
That's
God wrote
powerful.
to you.
Wow, wow, wow.
You read those people, you read their lives. In other words, you study their lives, you follow them. And then you will realize that, oh, this is a letter. If I keep going down this route,
This is
there
where
is
I'm
no
gonna
questioning or guessing what my
end
eternity
will
or
be.
my end will be.
Mm.
So choose people
Wow,
because, one, first and foremost, people are letters that
wow,
God
wow.
writes to us.
You know, speaking about people being led, you just said something about reading people's life, and something came in mind. I was also thinking to myself, like sometimes too, God can bring someone to you, and that will be a letter of God to you about what you need to
Absolutely.
learn, right? And you can keep probably meeting the same type of man or the same type of friend over and over because God is telling you, hello.
Second, this is so important you brought that up because when you keep running into the same type or level of help in life, that should tell you that there is something you are not getting.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way when we go to the negative part, that if you keep seeing the same results or having the same type of mistake or error or misfortune repeat itself over and over and over again, you don't need to write to God about it anymore. The answer has already been sent to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, many years ago, I was talking to some young women, and it was, of course, whenever you talk to young women, marriage and relationships will come in.
And
And
boys and girls.
had asked me a question about finding the ideal person because they had been taught or they were under the notion that God took a rib. What did they say? That they are a rib in
Somebody's.
somebody's side. They are a specific rib. And I said, well, there are two ways to answer that, yes and no. The no is that God will never tell you that this is the person that you should marry. Why? Because marriage and people are so dynamic and so mysterious that if God should tell you that go and marry something and you will turn right to God and say,
You gave me
that the woman you gave me, remember, does that sound familiar?
Adam.
The woman you gave me.
God will
That,
not make that mistake again.
so God will not do that. But the yes part is that the person that you say yes to, the person that you say till God do us part, is the one that God made for you.
Yeah.
Does it mean that if you go through certain relationships or marriages and then it ends in divorce, that God changed his mind? No. There is something that needed to have been learned that we could not learn. And ask anyone who has gone through divorce. The things that happened in their first marriage that ended in a divorce does happen again when they get married. The only reason why that does not also end in a divorce is because
They
at
learned.
that time they find a way to read that letter that God wrote to them in the previous one.
Take me as I am. I'm not changing. This is me. You know, we say that like.
But you know, people being letters also means that people are agents of help. You may have heard us talk about that God will bless you. God will do a lot of great things for you. God will take you far, but he will go through men.
Yeah, yeah.
In his wisdom, he chose men to be stewards or the guardians of the door or the gates to destiny in this realm. And so all the help that we need yes, comes from God. Man is not our source, but believe you me, man is our channel.
A man is standing at every door you want to enter.
Every door you want to enter in life has a man standing
Standing
there.
there. Wow.
The best God can do for us is that when that man has refused to open, he sends another man to
Someone
open
else
it
to
for
open
us.
that door. Yeah. Yeah.
Man is always the channel.
Wow. Wow. That was very powerful. If man refuses, yeah.
God is the source. And
Mm.
so, for my dear man of God, let me just pause here and say, once you realize this, then you will stop basing your increase or your help in that ministry on a man, because you understand that the channel can always change, but the source remains the same. You don't
Powerful.
look to men to be the source of your ministry growing, especially when it comes to the area of finances. A lot of us have compromised because we have forgotten the source and made man the source.
That's
No,
all.
no man in this life is the source of your increase.
Mm.
Man is just your channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's go back to what we're talking about, right? So,
Choosing people.
choosing people. The second reason why you have to choose people over things is because when you have people, things automatically will follow.
Mm.
The things that we need, just like we just talked about, every door in destiny has a person standing there. And so why bypass the person and try to have what is in the door when you can just have that person and automatically they will give you all those things that are in that door?
Mm.
This, Sister Candace, is what leads us into destiny helpers. I believe a year ago or two, when we talked about obtaining relationships, we
Mm-hmm.
talked about how men can be destiny defining resources.
Right.
Destiny actualization or destiny manifestation demands that you and I will have relationships that will be able to give us the things that we are not able to obtain by ourselves.
Mm. Mm.
Let's be honest. If you and I will have to pay for everything we will ever need in life, we will never be able to make enough money to purchase them.
Gonna be broke.
But once we have people, I have here some qualities of people that I want to share with our audience. There are people who I call path finders. These are people who will point you the right way to go to obtain the things that you need. In
Mm.
fact, if you don't find the path finders, you can know what you need in life all you want. You will never find it.
Mm.
And then we have people that are resources, human beings as resources, whether financially, when it comes to knowledge. In fact, Sister Candace, there are times that there will be information in front of you. You will need someone to explain that information to you. Those I put in a category that I call teachers, teachers of destiny, that they will teach you the things, the steps that you need to take, the education that you need to acquire. All these are in people. Why? Because people have walked the path that you and I are taking.
Mm.
These same teachers also play the role of correctors, that they will correct certain perceptions, certain erroneous ideologies. And when you make errors and fall, it's these same people who will lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
I call such people maintainers.
Mm.
They may not be able to push you forward, but they will ensure that where you are in life, so when you fall, they will bring you up. They will insist that you don't go backwards as far as your destiny is concerned. If you miss out on people, you will go around the cycle of life over and over and over again without being able to gain access to where you need to be.
Mm.
What I truly want to say is that sometimes, regardless of how much God wants to help you, if you bypass people, if you ignore people, that
It's
help will not come. We know God is sovereign. He can do anything. In fact, He can bring everything you need in front of you, but He has chosen to bind Himself
with
to
people.
man.
Yeah. I feel like it's very sad because with what you're saying, like regardless of how much God wants to help you, He has bind Himself with a person or with a man. Like God cannot help you outside of a man. Like He will help you through somebody. And I'm just saying it's very sad that sometimes when God tries to help us through a certain man or a certain woman, when I say man, what I mean, it's like this is not what we had pictured, you know
Hmm.
and we don't choose it, or we don't choose that person. It's very sad. And
When God finds a man.
yeah, yeah. And, we keep going through that cycle of rejecting. And you made mention of it, I think, last week. We reject the help that we were
Hmm.
seeking for. And I think we already spoke about that too before, because we have this picture of how our help should be. I think it was in one of our
Hmm.
recordings.
Hmm.
But going back to what we were saying, how do we choose the right people? Because I think you said about four different categories of the type of people. One
Hmm.
that helps you, that maintains you, one that is a path and all these stuff. So how do we choose the right people?
Mm.
Especially for what season we are in, right?
Exactly.
Mhm,
Exactly.
mhm,
Exactly. And I'm so glad you made that last statement there, for what season you are in. Because one of the best ways to ensure that you are choosing the right people is to define what you need. And
mhm,
what defines your need is the season of life that you are in.
mhm. I have a question though, because you can know what season you're in.
Hmm.
You can desire or know what you are in need of, right?
Hmm.
But then could there be a situation where, for example, you need, say, a mentor, right? You have identified that you need a mentor. And then you get a mentor or someone comes to mentor you, but then you're like, what do I need them for again? Like,
I think your question will actually be answered as we go through how
okay.
we choose people. But I wanted to ensure that we know, because if you don't define what your need is,
Mhm.
how do you know the right person when you have found them?
Right, right.
It's so important that you and I define what our need is.
Yes.
Once we have defined what the need is, and
Mm,
again, the need we have is determined by the season we are in.
yes.
Don't forget our conversation on number your days.
Mm-hmm.
If right now, sitting here, you decide to try to find help for legacy building when you are in the morning or afternoon phase of your life, you really don't know what help you need.
Mm,
So define the help you need
right.
by identifying the season of
That you
life.
are in.
Very, very crucial. Now
Yes.
that you know the season and have identified the
The kind of
need,
help you
yes.
need.
Now that you have done that, how do you choose people? You choose people, one, by building relationships with them.
Hmm.
Building relationships. And that's why I went through the types of people, because it is knowing the types of people available and knowing the need that you have that will inform the type of relationship you build. Sister Candace, there are people who will build relationship with, let's say, a business tycoon or a CEO in the field that they are involved in as they come out of college. But as soon as they start working, they begin to think that they are on the same platform with this person. No, you are not. They have invested years of sacrifice, years of effort. You cannot just come from school and think that you are on the same level with them because you work in the same company.
Mm,
One of the greatest obstacles to us receiving mentorship is what I'm telling you now: co-equal mentality.
mm,
A co-equal mentality that we think because we are working in the same place with people, we are equal with them. We have the same job title. When they have invested, they've been there for decades, and you are just now coming out of school. It
hmm,
will be foolish of me to think that I have the same level of experience, knowledge, and expertise to a surgeon who has been doing surgery for 30, 40, 50 years when I just came out of residency or
Yeah.
fellowship.
Yeah.
It will be foolish of me to think that way. And what does that mindset do? That mindset prevents me or you from receiving anything genuine from them.
Mm, mm, mm.
So you choose people by building relationships, and you build relationships by knowing your role in that relationship. You are a student to them. You are not a co-equal.
Yes. Mm.
Shall we move to the next one?
Yeah.
How else do you choose people? You choose people with this principle called gratitude. When we are ungrateful, even the best of men will withhold from us.
Wow.
When we choose to show gratitude, even to the simplest of things, have you not realized in your own life that people who show immense amount of gratitude to you
You
when
want
you
to
have
keep,
done very small things for are very difficult for you to get rid of?
not even to get rid of, you want to try to do something more for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even what they have not asked,
Yeah.
you want to do for them. Why? Because they were grateful. And
Mm.
if it works for you, don't you
What
think it works for the person
someone knows.
who holds the key to the door of
Wow.
opportunity that you want to enter?
Wow.
You choose people by engaging this mystery of gratitude. And whilst we are talking about gratitude, let me add this component as well. Honor. 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 Sister Candice, we live in a time where we don't know how to honor men.
Mm.
A lot of people honor with their mouth. But do you know that encompassed in honor is openness, communication, trustworthiness, truth, sacrifice? All these are in the place of honor.
Mm.
That you cannot say you honor someone when you cannot be honest with them. You cannot say you honor someone when you cannot be open to trust them. You cannot say you honor someone when you are not willing to submit to them.
Mm.
And so, for all the husbands out there who say you honor your wife, are you having open conversations or communication with your wife? In other words, is the channel of communication open enough that your wife can correct you when you are wrong? If that is not in place, then please, you are not honoring your wife. And stop saying it.
Mm. Mm. You know how, like, I think there's what you are defining honor as is different from some ways of how we feel like this is honoring someone.
Mm,
So I don't know if it's different based on situations or honor is honor. It's coming off to me as different from how I've seen
mm,
honor being practiced, right? So I don't know if this is just the theory aspect of honor and the practicality of honor is different because I know, like, for example, if it's like Father's Day, you can, you buying a gift to your husband or your father, things like
mm,
that. It's honoring them, right? It's
mm-hmm,
honoring your figure as a father
mm-hmm,
or saying something meaningful to them. It's you honoring them.
mm,
Mm.
mm,
So coming in here with the trust, submission,
mm.
willing to submit to them and openness, how does that play a role in that kind of honor that I
Wow.
see?
Wow, powerful question, Sister Candace. And my answer may shock you, but the truth is Anna regardless of situation, time, or personnel involved. Because the reason why you are saying something nice to your dad on Father's Day or giving a gift to your pastor on Pastor's Appreciation Day is not because in that instant you are choosing to honor them. You are doing that because honor is the state. It's that position you hold them. So everything you are doing is stemming from that understanding. Honor is not a thing we do. Honor is a state of mind.
Mm,
And so when I say I honor you as a person, it's a state of mind concerning you. And so everything I do to and towards you is sponsored by that state of mind.
Mm. Is
And
honor the same as value?
you value what you honor.
Okay, okay.
And so when you are giving gifts to honor someone, why are you doing that? It's because of the value you place on that person. But why
Right.
do you place value on that thing or that person? Because of honor. So honor is the state of mind of value.
Okay. So it's not really action, but then it
Not
informs your
really.
actions.
And
Okay.
so when you go before, and we see this a lot in our churches, right? That when we go before a man of God, we bow our knees and all those other things as a way of showing honor. Well, my dear Christian brother and sister, you know I love you on this show. But if you do that and turn around and go home and talk bad about this man of God, everything you did was not real.
That was fake.
It was fake.
Yeah.
And so then the Bible will say that curse not the king in your thoughts,
Mm.
because a bird of the air might hear it and inform on you to the king.
Oh,
The last I checked, even devils cannot read our mind. So how will a bird hear my thoughts? Because the actions you will do in secret, a bird may see and inform on you.
it will leak no matter what. Your actions will show your thoughts sooner or later.
Yes. And so, Secondus, when you talk to people who really understand Anna,
Right.
they will tell you that it's not what people told me about you in front of you that mattered to me, but what they said when you were not there.
Mm,
That is really the value or the worth of Anna.
mm, mm,
For the sake of time, maybe we will try to talk about one or two more ways we choose people, and then we will see if we'll be able to wrap up from there.
mm,
The other way, you choose people by obedience.
mm,
Obedience. I've been learning about obedience over the past year or two. And you may have heard me say this over and over again, that the one you obey has a responsibility to you. And when I say that, that is a loaded statement.
mhm,
Because what do we mean by responsibility? Responsibility comes in when you talk about trust, when you talk about interest, when you talk about effort, when you talk about patterns.
mm,
All these are embedded in the word responsible to you. Obedience requires humility, trust, effort, interest, and also knowing patterns of that person. And when I talk about patterns, there are things that people will do without even being conscious of it.
mm,
Their capabilities. That's what
mm,
I mean by patterns. Their
mm.
tendencies.
Right,
If
right.
you do not factor all these things in, you will find that you are submitting yourself under someone because you are choosing them, and so you are going to obey them, and then you will realize that they have tendencies that are detrimental to you, to where you want to go, your destiny, and even your life.
Mm,
So you choose people by understanding the principle of obedience.
mm,
Again, the principle of obedience requires or entails humility, trust, interest, effort, and patterns or capabilities. The things that they do without thinking about.
mm, mm, mm,
And then, Sister Candace, for the sake of time, let me add one more thing and say just maybe two or three things about. And that is, you choose people by engaging the principle of acceptance. For you to choose the right people, one, you must accept who you are and accept who they are and the things that you see are valuable in them. If you don't accept who you are, the chances are you will end up letting go of all the goodness in you, all the good things that you carry, you bring to the table. When people are mentoring us, they are not mentoring us to change us from who we are. They are mentoring us to improve who we are.
yeah.
If you don't accept that about yourself, that you carry something that can be improving, it becomes very, very difficult for whoever you choose to
Mm,
be able to get you to your destiny.
mm,
So that is one part. The second part is accepting the person that you are choosing, because everyone comes with some baggage. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but no one is perfect. Every single person, even the best of us, have their own things that they are working on. And you must choose to accept the deficiencies that they have. You don't have to take it upon yourself, but you must choose to accept it. Because if you don't make the choice of acceptance in choosing people, Sister Candice, you will be walking down the street and you will hear someone say, Joe Deborah has a big mouth, and that will offend you to the point that you will reject everything that comes from me.
With you.
But if you choose to accept my deficiencies, not attractiveness, with the good that comes with me, then when you hear things like that, the worst you can do is to say, I know that, I accept that, it's not why I'm there. I am there to receive ABC. You take that and you move on. Because it is almost impossible for you to receive from the person you are offended by. I take that again. When you carry offense against anyone, your pastor, your bishop, your president, your CEO, it's impossible, almost in all cases, impossible to receive from them. That is why sometimes some people will be sitting in a church under a very good minister, but their lives will not be changed. Others will come from outside and be changed by the minister, but because of the offense that they carry, everything that will change them is rejected by their spirit.
Because, there's offense already there.
And so let's talk to our young people. If you find that someone who many believe to be effective, good at what they do, you have been following them or working with them for a while, but you find that there is no improvement in your life, check yourself well. You might be carrying offense against them. This is one of the mysteries of receiving. I know we're not talking about receiving, but we talked about acceptance. And so I have to bring it in there. It's impossible, almost in all cases, to receive from the person who have offended you.
Right.
And it might not even be conscious. It might be that they made a political statement. When we talk about pastors, they made a statement that you found to be offensive politically. And that will be something that will block your ability to be changed by their message. And so now, Sister Candace, you are a believer. And so I'm pretty sure as soon as I said this, your eye is going around all those people that you see in church. They've been in church for 40 years. Under this pastor that you just went to and your life was radically changed or your life was improved, and they are still the same. And you asking yourself, don't they just get it? No, they can't. They have been offended. So acceptance is also a way of choosing people, that you choose to accept their deficiencies, not their bad, but their deficiencies. Understanding that every person has something that they have to be working on, regardless of how high in the structure, how high the position they occupy, and what have you.
That's very powerful. It's very interesting because you have chosen people, you have accepted the person, but then you have not accepted yourself. So I like how you brought both of them in, and it's like not having accepted yourself in where you are and what you need, why that person is here and everything. I feel like no matter what they do, it will not amount to anything because you yourself have not accepted yourself.
Yes.
So it'll
you
be
need
like
to accept who you are, where you are, before they can help you.
It's very profound because sometimes I feel like they know more about you than you. Like they know why you're here in your life or why they have come. Like it's so interesting how God does that. But it's like when help comes or when someone comes your way by a choice or a prayer or whatever you have made, it's very interesting. Like that person comes with agenda. it's like they know why you're here in this time, in this season. But it's always the one who asks for the help that's trying to like shuffle
Exactly.
around, like, why are they here? What is this? What is
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's very good to really pull back and think, okay, why is this? And acceptance is very powerful. So it's good how you brought both of them in, because we can do one and dismiss the other, or
Absolutely.
dismiss the other and do one. So that's very powerful. But day by day, this is, the choices, the decisions, the thing we have to do to survive day by day for our tomorrow, right? For a
Absolutely.
better next day, a better tomorrow. And it's been very powerful. I
Absolutely.
didn't think this conversation was going to go in the area where it went. So
Mm,
it's very eye-opening, openness of heart to receive. So listeners out there, be open when you're listening to Hour of Healing, because
absolutely.
anything can go anywhere. Yeah. So we thank God for today's discussion. I don't know if Dr. Joe has last few things he wants to add on before we close this week's discussion on
Absolutely.
day by day.
Wow. Wow. Well, Mr. Candace, thank you so, so much. And dear audience, what a journey it has been, day by day. To conclude our conversation, I actually will go back to the very first recording as a way of summarizing everything that we have talked about. And I had referenced the prayer that the Lord Jesus taught his disciples. And he said, you ask God that give us this day our daily bread. In other words, give us today the things we need to sustain us, to protect us, to guide us, to lead us, to help us, to direct us. And I made mention when we did the first recording that you realize that our daily bread also includes everyone around us, because your safety in your neighborhood does not only depend on you, but it depends on everyone else.
Yeah.
Why am I saying this? In making the choices day by day, in choosing life, in choosing help, in choosing people, you need to understand that this journey that you are on is impacted and impacts others. And so don't just make decisions that will profit you. Make decisions that will make your environment a better place. For it is in doing so that you and I truly get to live this life that God has given us day by day. It's been such an honor, such a privilege for us to be able to talk about this conversation. We want to implore you to continue to share Hour of Healing with your loved ones and even strangers who are in your phone. You never know what anyone is going through at the various stages of life until they have been healed and come back to you and say to you that when you sent me that recording, when you sent me that message, this is what it did for me. So I pray that you and I will do the best we can to extend what God is healing us with to others, because when our community is improved, when our family is improved, when we ourselves are healed, that truly is when healing has come. God bless you so much. We will see you same time next week as we bring you another life-changing and thought-provoking conversation on Hour of Healing. We'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.